Today we're going to talk about why diets are dead and nutrition plans are in. You see, there's so many new diets out there today, and people go, Wade, they ask me all the time, Wade, what kind of diet should I do? Does your program work with a high-fat diet? Does it work with the paleo? Does it work with the vegan? Does it work with the pagan? I don't know. I lost weight on this, but then again, diets are crazy. I mean, let's face it. And I'm going to share with you a little, what I call or my business partner Matt taught me was called the elusive obvious. And that's it. Here's what it is. Diets don't work. And you're going, wait a minute, Wade. Diets do work. No, we're going to get into the psychology here before you get in there. Why would I say something like that? Think about this. How many diet books are out there? Just go to any bookstore or go to Amazon. How many books are about diets? There's like thousands and thousands. And guess what? New books come out about diets every single year. And so one year it's the high-fat diet. The next year it's the high-carb diet. The next year it's the low-carb diet. Then the next year it's like, there's all these fads, and what I call, there's fads. What's cool? And then there's diet cults. This is something you really want to avoid, what I call diet cults. This is a big one. Okay? So fad diets are kind of like the South Beach or this type of thing. It's like the Mediterranean diet or these things. I'm not here to condemn them or say that there aren't aspects about that aren't valuable, but you got to recognize is a certain amount of people, we'll call this the herd, right? This is, public image. The herd goes towards fads. And the fads are lose 10 pounds in like this week, in a weekend, right? Or it's the, get in shape, by the, for your date, or, get ready for a wedding. People go on diets for usually social reasons. Why? Because you got to realize is that psychologically we're hooked up to be social animals. Social connection kept us, connected with other people, and also throughout history, that's what gave us status. And on a certain level, we're all looking for a level of status. So social, and today in our culture, and this is not the case in all cultures, looking like the cover of the fitness magazine or looking like the latest Hollywood celebrity is part of social status, right? So this social status is causing people to go, oh my God, it's my high school reunion. It's the wedding. I'm going to go see my friends I haven't seen a few years ago, an old boyfriend or girlfriend or that sort of thing. And they get hooked on this social status, right? They develop their sense of value about how they look. And there's nothing wrong with looking good, and there's nothing wrong with looking not so good. But the recognition is we're connected socially, and this influences our psychology. Okay? And our psychology is how we see the world and how we feel the world sees us. And this is very, very important because this is how diet cults get started and hooked into. So people, oftentimes, they'll feel, compromised by their social status. They'll feel compromised by their psychology. And they decide, okay, I need to lose a bunch of weight. I always use that one. Wade, I get these phone calls. Dude, Wade, I'll pay you anything. I got to lose a bunch of weight. I mean, I've got this thing coming up. It's a wedding. It's the whole thing, right? We've all been there. I know we have. But I got to lose about by this amount of time. X amount of time. And it's usually not enough time. It's almost always not something that's just going to set you up for yo-yo dieting. We've all heard about the dangers of yo-yo dieting, going up in weight and down in weight, up in weight and down in weight. In fact, a lot of medical researchers have demonstrated that this is the most unhealthy way when you start fluctuating a lot up and down in weight. It's very, very difficult on your heart, your internal organs, also your self-esteem and social. And a lot of people start skipping from fad diet to fad diet because they connect their social status with how they look. This makes these diets popular. And also what happens because of the fad, what's in this year only a certain percentage of the population is going to go in there. And then there's going to be a bunch of scientists and researchers that say, well, hey, now we've discovered that having a lot of carbohydrates in your diet is not good. And they're going to back this up with research. They're going to back this up with science. They're going to show all this stuff, and you go, oh my God, no wonder I'm doing this. I'm doing the wrong diet. I need to get on the new fad. I need to get on the whatever diet. And you're on the whatever diet, and you're caught in this cycle. So you do that for a few months, and then you go to the next one. And each one of these diets has both positive and benefits. And now keep in mind this. Anytime that you create a change, as soon as you change diets, there is what's called a metabolic, I don't even see this very well, a metabolic adaptation. I know I'm making a big mess here with my mind map. By the way, if you haven't used mind maps, I highly recommend it. Anytime you change your diet, there's a metabolic adaptation. In other words, your body is just not that efficient at breaking down that diet, and digesting your food or doing, processing that is a big part of your metabolism. We talked about metabolism in an early lesson. So when you make the switch, people get an instant boost and think it's working, and then all of a sudden it stops. And so they do that, and they jump to another one, and then jump to another one. And oftentimes, what they're doing is what I call the Dance of Delusion in the land of confusion. After you've gone through 3 or 4 of these fads, right, kind of in the circle, all of a sudden a lot of people go, you know what, it doesn't work. I have a terrible metabolism. I can never get this order. You know what, I've got big bones in my family. The psychology to support, the failings, let's say, or the lack of success you start to find reasons, logical explanations, bias. These are personal psychological biases that start saying why you can't achieve that. And the reality is this: it's a lie. Your body is designed to work optimally. And in order to do that, you can't follow a diet. A diet doesn't work. The reason, how do we know that? There's thousands and thousands of books, and there's more and more people that are obese. What you need, is a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, and I'm erasing this, of course, I'm erasing the diet cult. What happens is you get yourself in serious, serious trouble. So what is in? What's in is nutrition plans. Okay? And a nutrition plan is developed for you and by you, and it's based on science. It's based on biofeedback. In other words, we've got, myself, Matt, and Dave are both all partners in our company, and we all follow different nutrition plans. We all use our BiOptimizers products because it accelerates the underlying aspect below your diet, before the food you're taking. We optimize the system so that we get better results from our nutrition plan, from our whole program. And if you stick with this and follow this thing, you're going to start to realize I can put together a whole component and really get a holistic model so that you're building your body from the inside out. Okay? This nutrition plan, and then biofeedback from your team of experts with some of the testing that we talked about, will allow you to get direct feedback on where your body is and what your specific needs are. What are the nutrients that you need? What are the amount of exercise that you require? Do you do better on a high-fat diet, or do you do better on a high-carbohydrate diet? How many times a day do you need to eat for optimal level based on your lifestyle? These are something that diets can't, in a book can't figure out for you. You need an expert in your field to kind of guide you and hold your hand and to help you get to this component. And I want to add another thing, and I erased it, is you got to be wary of the cults, diet cults. What tends to happen is a certain group of people will go along and they'll produce a specific result. Maybe this diet, a certain diet, really was the one that fit perfectly with a certain percentage of that group. So let's say, 1 million people did this diet, whatever diet, this fad diet. And out of that, 10% of those people, 100,000 people, okay, this was the perfect diet for them. This was the exact diet. If you had have gone to a team of researchers and scientific people, it's basically just throwing darts at a dartboard. They got some good marketing. 10% of the people do it. 100,000 people found that, and it was like, wow, they've got 100,000 people that are successful on this diet. And guess what? These people now become the cult leaders, right? They become, it's my way or the highway. Now, this is the only way to do it. You know, all those other diets are garbage, and all those other experts are idiots, and you start getting a narrow focus. And, you know, years ago when I started, I fell victim to that. I thought that I knew what was going on, everything, and I really limited myself, and I criticized a lot of people, and I feel, you know, I have a lot of remorse for that. And I turned this around by working on my brain and start seeing a broad perspective, and also from training thousands and thousands of people and seeing, you know, what is the ways that we optimize the system so that we can, when we do get the diet that's right for a person or the nutrition plan that's for that person, that it works in a way that's you're supposed to. Otherwise, you get caught into this. And here's what happens when you get caught into a diet cult. What you don't realize is during that, you know, that feeding of diet, maybe it lasted 3 months or 6 months or maybe even a year. But what they don't know is that they're missing certain components. And now they've created, if we go back to our bucket theory, they've created a different drain on different supplies inside the body. So the one diet, they were missing something. They switched over to this, and now they got the components that they weren't missing. But now they're going to start missing, and they drain those down, and eventually they start suffering from metabolic issues. This happened to me. This happened to me when I followed a very rigid system for a very long period of time that intrinsically didn't feel right, but it's what got me a certain cosmetic result, right? And that was the thing in bodybuilding. They wanted you to have a certain level of body fat, and you had to look a certain way. And I felt terrible at that time. And I vowed, when I rebuilt myself and came back from that whole program, and thankfully some, really wise and helpful people really came in and took control and helped me, make that journey back and taught me about enzymes and probiotics and minerals and vitamins and alkaline and acid and the bucket theory. I started learning this from experts and putting it all together, and that's why we're sharing this. I discovered that, you know what? I need to share this with people. I need to get people, because I see people falling into this thing and they're headed down the same path I did. And I was fortunate enough to get out of it. I know a lot of people that don't, and they stay this all their whole lives. It causes, psychological problems, sociological dysfunction. They feel terrible about their lives, and there's really no need for it. So what you want to do is you want to think long-term. You want to think long-term instead of short-term. You want to think of a nutrition plan instead of a diet, and you want to get a team of experts that monitors things as you go on. I can share with you this. One thing I do know is what I'll be doing maybe 5 or 10 years from now, I'll have made a certain changes based on the feedback from my team of experts. And I hope that by the end of this, you're going to understand that's the way to go for you, that you customize things for your diet, your life, because things change. Not only does your dietary needs change, but your lifestyle changes, your age changes, your body changes. And the principles of biological optimization are to keep the system optimized. But even with that, you're still going to need those experts, your Jedi Council, which we'll talk about later, to make sure you're getting the proper results at the proper time, and that you're flexible enough that you're not caught into any one of these rigid things and misidentifying just because 10% it worked for them. You don't hear about the 90%, right? Keep in mind of that, and don't get caught in the diet trap. Diets are dead. Nutrition plans are in. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you're caught in one of those, come on to our website, make a post, ask us a question. We've got the teams. We'll be able to help you out, and I'm so excited to do so. We'll see you on the next lesson.